In this video, I want to talk a little bit more about working with the freelancers you might hire and working with remote teams.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
Because it's remote, each member has to be independent, self-driven, and shouldn't need that many instructions, and shouldn't be one of those people who needs motivation, needs to be part of an office. Usually freelancers are not, but this is something to be aware of, that they do have to be independent. And ideally, you would want to use some kind of project management tools, like something like Trello. We go over that in a different part of this course. And what you want to do also is beware of time differences and sensitive to it, because sometimes if they don't reply for a while, well, they may be sleeping. So you want to give them a little bit of space on that. And your job, precisely because they're working independently remotely, is that you can't talk to them very much in person. The written communication has to be very clear, and that's your job. Like, if they're confused, it's your fault. And if you hire people who aren't very sharp, it's also your fault. So you see, it's mostly on you. That responsibility is your responsibility, that the communication is clear, and the kind of people you end up working with are people that you don't hire because they're cheap or out of desperation, but you hire them because they're indeed actually good. And that really brings me to an important point, is that you don't want to hire the cheapest freelancers out there, even though that might be the initial impulse, because usually the cheapest are also usually the worst, and cheap doesn't mean value. Often, more senior developers, they can just do the job quicker. So if one developer who's cheap is $10 an hour, and one developer who's more experienced and better, he's $30 an hour, but the senior developer completes the job quickly, first you get to launch your product many days ahead of schedule than the inexpensive developer would have gotten you. That's sometimes priceless. And with an inexperienced developer, the more time they take, they're going to have more bugs in their software. The project is going to have a higher risk of not being completed at all. They might just quit and flake. They might communicate with you poorly. And it might seem logical that, oh, one developer who's 3 times cheaper, surely it won't take them 3 times the time to create the software. But in software development, a lot of the time is wasted not on writing the code, but getting stuck in like fixing bugs or debugging, or being stuck not knowing how to code something. And the senior developer will usually breeze through a lot of the issues, where the junior developer will get stuck on many issues. So it actually might take them an immense amount more time to finish the project than a senior developer. So you want to hire more experienced developers, especially if you're an early stage entrepreneur. You don't want to work with other beginners. That senior developer can actually guide you at times, because when you work with a senior developer, you can give them leeway, like creative leeway, and let them surprise you, because usually they'll know more about software development than you. They'll know how to implement certain things better than you think that they should be implemented. So you can give them more creative leeway. They prefer that. You don't have to micromanage them. And that would be a better way to go than just banging your head against the wall working with junior developers.